the highway. All that grade was built with horses.
You remember that time when there were horses over there in a big corral? Or?
Yeah, I remember them. Shorty Barn Dog Pollock was a horse barn boss.
Okay. And you got acquainted with him?
Yeah, I knew him.
Now there was a couple of three things that happened during the time that highway was moved from down here on Main Street over west of town, and I know that there was a man named Herschel Cheese Sissel that...
Yeah, they fired Cheese.
Did they?
Teed him off a little.
Was he a little bit ornery?
He got Tommy Mays come over here at Fairgrove and buy him a couple of boxes of tacks. And he broadcast him on the right-of-way over there.
He planted them over there, did he?
He had all them little puddle jumper trucks, Model T batch trucks. Some of them had one flat, some 2, 3, and 4. He shut her down.
So they're a little sorry, but they couldn't blame him. They didn't necessarily know he did it, but the word got around.
They found out who did it.
Okay.
They questioned Tommy Mays, and he told them, he's just a kid. He told them about buying the tax.
Okay.
Who for?
That's what happens sometimes. It come back to bite you. Well, Cheese Sissel had another go-round with the man who ran the hotel over here in Fairgrove,
yeah,
didn't he?
Mr. Bell shot him over across the street here. And it caused a little commotion around here.
Didn't he aggravate Mr. Bell?
I guess he did.
The way I heard it, Mr. Bell said, well, you know, he took it for a little while and then he went home and he got his 6-shooter and he came back. And
yeah, he tried to abuse the old man. And he was a man that wouldn't take much of that abuse.
You knew Mr. Bell pretty good?
Yeah, pretty well.
He had a little zoo over next to his hotel, didn't he?
Up along the sidewalk. I forget all the animals he had in, but he had quite a few.
Pretty big deal for back then. It was kind of a tourist attraction. It wasn't exactly exotic animal paradise, but it was.
Well, you walk up the sidewalk, and it was right beside there, war cages.
Was there quite a bit of traffic that went through Fairgrove at that time?
Oh yeah, it was the main thing. All Buffalo's trucks going to Springfield came through here. Doc Goodman was the man who hauled most of the freight from Springfield out to the stores.
So he made a regular route out of coming to the stores? And
he had 2 old trucks. His boy Ernie drove one of them, he drove one. They hauled freight from Springfield.
And you guys, you bought this building at one time, the building that we're in.
I bought the stock that was in it. 1958.
From Low Rathbun?
From Low Rathbun.
And you operated a store here for how long? You were in just a little while, and then you turned it over to your wife.
Yeah, she ran it about 10 years.
You couldn't stand being indoors that long, could you?
No, I didn't like to be shut up. I'd sold a farm over here by the Lost Bridge, and we bought that old gray house up here on the corner. I bought that from Charlie Conger. And I got working. I had a real estate license, and I worked for Tony Thornton for a long time, an auction business. Howard Arthur, he was Tony's partner. And they started real estate business, and I got my real estate license.
And you dealt in a few pieces of property around Fairgrove, because people had known you all your life. So you were their friend, and you had a few farm sales and auctions.
Yeah, well, I did some auction work.
When you were a kid, did you like to hunt and fish?
Oh, I did lots of it.
Where at?
Out there around where I lived.
In the ponds and the river? The little
Pumley.
The little Pumley down there.
Over big Pumley too, over there, son.
What kind of fish did you go after?
Oh, the catfish and perch down there on that river, but I fished a lot in Pumitar and Stockton too.
Did you use a
for
line and a
crappie.
pole, or did you seine them? Or
Oh.
hand fish?
We done everything down here on Little Creek and over on Big Pummy.
You weren't necessarily paying attention to how it ought to be done. You were trying to get some food for the family.
Yes.
Was there anything to hunt around here? Did you do any?
Lots of quail, rabbits, squirrel, you know, trap rabbits, sold them.
Who bought rabbits from you?
Belzy Hood.
Uh-huh. And you could make a few dollars that way, or a few nickels.
Yeah, I think we got a dime piece for rabbits.
Didn't take too much to buy a bottle of pop and a candy bar in those days, did it?
No, our hamburger about a nickel too.
Where would you buy a hamburger in Fairgrove?
Got down here at the cafe, Clyde and Kathy's Cafe.
First, just right down here on the right-hand side.
Yeah, next to the Legion.
Mm-hmm.
He run the cafe there for years. His boy was a good friend of mine, Junior, Kathy, and Mary.
Well, you went off to Kansas one time to do some farm work, didn't you?
Well, I went to Kansas Harvest, 3 or 4 years,
When was that?
about 38, 37, 8.
What made you want to go out there, just for the fun
Well,
of
you
it?
could, if you work hard here, you can make 75 cents or $1 a day, and you go out there and make $7, $8.
A day?
Yes.
My goodness. And do about the same kind of work?
No, they had bigger equipment.
Mm-hmm.
First year I went out there, I drove an old Al Chalmers tractor, a big one,
Mm-hmm.
pulled a 20-foot combine.
That was a lot bigger than what you'd done around
Oh
here.
my, you go start around them fields. Be 4 miles around those fields.
Did they feed pretty good out there?
Oh yes.
And where was that out there? Around Lyons, Kansas, I think, about
Bushton.
Bushton. And you did it 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, 3 or 4 years. After I was married, I went out there 1 year.
How'd you get out there? Did you take a car?
My wife and I went out there in an old Model A Ford. And when we started out, it had big long boots and the tires.
Yeah.
I got out there and made a little money. I bought a new set of tires for it.
What did a new set of tires cost you then days?
I don't remember.
20 bucks maybe?
Probably $8 or $10 a piece.
Yeah. Well, then they came back here and visited you one time, didn't they?
Yeah, Oscar Bennick and his wife came back. Claude Goodwin and I went out there, and Junior Woods. Junior had an old Model A Ford. He won the money shooting craps right down here in the old bank building.
Yeah, is that right?
Ford.
Was there a little gambling that used to go on in Fairgrove?
All the time.
All the time? If a guy wanted to find a game, he could find it.
The old bank building was empty, and we shot craps upstairs there. One Sunday afternoon, there's a bunch of guys up there. I just left.
Uh-huh.
Sheriff come in here and arrested a bunch of them. Took them to jail on an old hay truck.
Well, how do you find out there was a crap game going on?
Oh, I guess somebody told them about it.
Everybody knew about it if they wanted to.
I know my dad's we was building silos, and some of his hands were in jail. He had to go by and get them out of jail to go back to work on Monday.
Well,
Ossie Hankins was one of the crap shooters.
Is
Ray
that right?
Thomas and Junior Woods. And, well, everybody
yeah.
participated a little.
Everybody liked to do a little gambling.
Ossie Hankins he kind of financed part of it.
Well, his dad probably wouldn't have appreciated knowing him. He was up here loafing around.
Oh, Ossie's pretty much. He had more money than the rest of us. He got hogs he sold, and Babe give him a pretty good part of the.
Well, when you were working for your dad, he probably didn't pay you a whole lot for it. You were just earning
No,
your
but
board and room.
If I wanted to use the old truck or team to get out and make a few bucks, he went for that.
Okay.
No, he didn't give me any money. I made my own.